Trinadapi sunichena charariva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam, Kalo Nasyeva, Nasyeva, Nasyeva Gatiranyata. So chapter 15 is called Yoga of the Supreme Person. In Sanskrit it is called Purushottam Yoga. And very nice, Monica Sharma, the sister of Nandini Radha, has signed in. Monica, so nice to see you after a long time. Thank you for joining us. May Krishna bless you, protect you, and maintain you. I hope it's coming off on Mayapur TV nicely for you. Let me know if everything is okay for you, sound-wise. Please let me know if there's any problems. So, in this chapter, Yoga of the Supreme Person, first thing we learned was the perverted reflection of how this material world is not the reality, but it is a perverted reflection of the reality, which is the spiritual world. The spiritual world begins from the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And after Goloka Vrindavan, there are the innumerable Vaikuntha planets. And after the Vaikuntha planets is the Brahma Jyoti, where the impersonalists dwell. Then after the Brahma Jyoti is the causal ocean, or the river Viraja, which is the demarcation between the material and spiritual worlds. Mahavishnu is lying, and when he exhales, all the material universes are generated, and at a certain time, the Mahavishnu glances at Durga. And Mahavishnu, during his inhalation, when everything was inside of him, then when he exhales, it is time for him to glance at Durga and impregnate her with all the living entities who have been sleeping inside Mahavishnu because they were unfit to go to Vaikuntha. When he glances at Durga, that glance takes the form of Shambhu. Shambhu engages in sex with Durga, and all the living entities are injected into the womb of material nature, and they pick up from where they left off. All their desires that they have harbored for millions of lifetimes, when they take their birth, Krishna as Paramatma reminds them and gives them the appropriate body. You wanted to act like this? Here is the body for which you can fulfill your desires. And then, depending on their birth, they pick up from where they left off. And I am happy, too happy, to see not only Batuk, but my loving, wonderful Patel family, who I feel very close to. And as long as I live, Kamlesh will be very, very dear to me because of two things, many things, but two things in particular. Kamlesh impressed upon me, Sarvadharman Parityajya, Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, Ahang Tvang Sarva Papebhyo, Moksha Yishyami Ma Sucha. If there's one thing that I hope Just like today, Manjari passed away. And I was there, not at that moment, but before they took her away, I was there in the room. Devotees were chanting. And I was thinking that when it's time for me to pass away, I hope that Bhagavad-gītā 1866 is in my mouth. I hope that as I'm dying, Kamlesh is there, right there in my ear, telling me to surrender to Krishna. Last night when I was there, I told Nishant and Anand Mehta, Prabhu, when I'm like this, I want you to sing loud kirtan. If I'm in the hospital, I don't care. I want the kirtan to be so loud that they come and tell you, shh. But never mind, I want loud kirtan. Because I want to go back home, back to Godhead, by surrendering to Krishna. Everybody, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We also learned so far in this chapter the process by which to return home back to Godhead. That was in verse number 5. That's the process. You have to become free from envy, free from material attachments. Basically, you have to surrender to Krishna. Then, in the last class we learned one of the most prominent verses. Number 7. Mamai vangsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. And I said last time that this verse is a complete summary of everyone's life. First half of the verse says, Krishna says, you are part of me. You belong to Krishna. You are a child of God, not anything else. And that word Sanatan is very important, because Sanatan means always in the past, at present, and in the future. You will not be anything but Krishna's part and parcel. I gave the example. I don't know if I used that, but the example is Hiran and Arjuna. In this life, you are their parents. Nobody else in this life. No matter what happens, at the end of the day, they're your angsha. These are your two angshas. That's just like if I ring this bell, you cannot unring it. It's rung. So in the same way, in this lifetime, you are the sons of Meenakshi Brajarani and Kamlesh Patel. And I think you're happy about that. Not all children can say that I'm happy to be the son of such and such. But you, I'm sure, are very happy that you were born in this family, yes? Instead of some Malecha Yavana Western American family that doesn't know anything about Krishna like I was raised. All you learned was Mickey Mouse and baseball. And Italian, and Nick. Get the nap, Nick. Right? You were brought up differently. So Krishna says, eternally, past, present, and future, you are my angsha. And Prabhupada explained very nicely, fragmental, part and parcel, all the qualities of God, but to a minute degree. The Sanskrit word, Krishna is Vibhu, the great. We are Anu, tiny. Then in the purport, twice in the purport, Prabhupada mentioned the idea that we are reviving our original position. And I went on a long tirade last class. Revive means it was already there. It's being awakened, revived. And they have so many stories. Somebody was dying or had died, but they stand back, clear, right? They have the paddles, and then the guy comes back. He was revived. Or somebody was drowning in the ocean. The lifeguard comes, rescues him. They do the CPR. They pump out the water, and the water comes out. He's revived. So twice in that purport, Prabhupada used that word, revived. And as Prabhupada has said so many times, we were with Krishna. One of these days, I'm going to do a whole class, 3-hour, 4-hour, 5-hour class on that topic with all the quotes that Prabhupada has given. Not now. So that takes us up to text number 8. If you're ready to proceed, everybody chant the Maha Mantra and surrender.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Now, the idea now, the way I do it now, I want you to chant the Sanskrit along with me, not responsive. Okay, so let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Shariram yadavapnoti yachap yukatamishvara grihit vaitani sangyati vayurgandhani vashayat. Now we do responsive. Shariram, the body. Yat, as. Avapnoti, gets. Yat, as. Chaapi, also. Utkramati, gives up. Ishvara, the Lord of the body. Grihitva, taking. Etani, all these. Sangyati, goes away. Vayu, the air. Gandhan, smells. Iva, like. Ashayat, from their source. Now I want to backtrack a little bit because I didn't finish the second half of that 15.7. So the first half of 15.7 was your original identity. And that second part, Manakshastan Indriyani Prakriti Stani Karshati. Everybody in the material world, that's what's going on. All that's going on in this material world is that every one of us is struggling with these senses, including the mind. That is, you're struggling with your senses, your eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. But the chief of all the senses, which Krishna says, of the senses, I am the mind. In chapter 10, he made that point. The mind is so powerful. And we learned in chapter 6 that the mind can be your friend, it can be your enemy. And Arjuna said to Krishna, but Krishna, my mind is obstinate, turbulent, difficult to control. And he compared it to the hurricane, the raging wind, which we saw on the news this week, and especially yesterday, how powerful that wind is, along with the rain. So Arjuna said, I can't do yoga because this mind. But Krishna said, no. Krishna said, yes, the mind is all these things you said, but it is possible by constant practice and detachment. That constant practice, bhakti yoga especially, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, controlling the mind, and then detach. Detached from material sense gratification. Detached from the result. As Krishna many times tells Arjuna, don't be attached to the result. Do your duty, whatever it may be, And don't worry about the result. Krishna said, the result, that's up to me. Arjuna was just to execute his duty. Just like those who preach, those who go out and distribute books, or those who make Bhagavad-gītā CDs and DVDs. You do it. Sometimes the people will take. Sometimes they don't. Doesn't matter. You're not going to stop. No matter what you're going to do. Just like in your business. You do your duty no matter what. All right, so that was the second half. So now there's a couple of things in this verse. So this word Ishvara, the Lord of the body. Well, we learned in chapter 13, how many lords of the body were there in chapter 13? How many? Yes, 2. The soul is definitely the Lord of the body, but there's also Paramatma, super soul. He's definitely the Lord, not only the Lord of the body, but the Lord of all the bodies. We learned that at the beginning of chapter 13. This is what's so nice about studying Bhagavad-gītā. Because if you've learned the previous lessons, you get to see, oh yes, I remember that we learned that. It starts to become cohesive. So that when you're preaching, you can say, Krishna says like that, and then Krishna says like that. Once you start to really learn it. And then when I saw this word Vayu, the air, today, not today, but this week, I read the story of Hanuman. He's the son of the wind god, right? So there was some episode when Hanuman was young, and the demigods did something. So Vayu said, oh, you're going to do something to my son? So Vayu then choked. And the demigod, so they had to make some kind of arrangement to placate Vayu, because he was very upset that, I think it was somebody hurt Hanuman or did something to Hanuman.
Indra.
Was it Indra? Yes. Right. So Vayu said, oh, you want to mess with my son? Okay. Try this. You can't breathe. Just like if anyone tried to do anything to Arjuna and Hiran, Meenakshi and Kamlesh, they have to deal with them. They'll not. Just like if someone was to harm my son, my grandson, Janardhan, I told Janardhan, and you have any problems, you call me. I'll come. I told that to Rupal too, long time ago, when Rupal was maybe Arjuna's age. I told Rupal, you have done service for me, so nice service. You can call me 24 hours. If you ever need something, you call me, I'll come. Because she is one of my angels. So Hiran and Arjuna, I extend the same thing to you. You got any problems? You need something? You come to me, okay? I will help you. Is that all right? Jai. Very good. All right, let's look at the translation. Please repeat. The living entity in the material world.
The living entity in material world
Carries his different conceptions of life.
Carries his different conceptions of life.
From one body to another.
From one body to another.
As the air carries aromas.
The air carries aroma.
Thus he takes one kind of body.
Thus he takes one kind of body.
And again quits it.
And again quits it.
To take another.
And take another.
So actually, the basis of this verse we learned in chapter 2. Right? This is another verse which exemplifies reincarnation. Reincarnation is one of the fundamental things you learn from Bhagavad-gītā. You can't read Bhagavad-gītā and not accept or understand the principle of reincarnation, because that's probably the foundation. It began with that. When Krishna began, right, as the embodied soul continually passes. That was verse number 13 in the second chapter. Krishna started his instructions with verse number 11. So the very third verse. And so we're getting that again. But now we're getting some more detailed, different conceptions of life. So we carry on those conceptions. Why? How does that work? That was explained by Narada in the 4th canto. Manakshi, you read 4th canto. So do you remember the story of King Prachini Barhi? Narada, several chapters. Yes, that Narada was preaching to King Prachini Barhi. So he told the allegorical story of King Puranjan. And what was King Puranjan thinking of the time of death? Yes, his wife. Because that's that famous verse. When the wife drank, he drank. When the wife ate, he ate. So, too attached. So one sannyasi gave a joke in explaining that verse. When the queen passed stool, the king just because he gives a whole list, whatever the queen did. So the sannyasi added that. I never forget that. It was so funny. Everybody was laughing. So the idea was that all his life he had been developing a certain conception. So that conception carried with him to his next life. But he did take birth as the daughter of some king, correct? So he got some benefit. All right, let's look at Prabhupada's purport. Srila Prabhupada ki. Oh, so I'm correct. Here the living entity is described as Ishvara, the controller of his own body. If he likes, he can change his body to a higher grade, and if he likes, he can move to a lower class. We learned that in chapter 14, in the previous chapter. Depending on what modes of nature you associate with, right? It said, we learned in chapter 14, if you live in the mode of goodness, you go up. Urdvam gachanti sattvasta. If you remain passionate, come back as human. But if you cultivate tamogun, down to the 8 million lower species. Minute independence is there. The change his body undergoes depends upon him. At the time of death, the consciousness he created will carry him on to the next type of body. Again, how far have you gotten to the 5th canto?
8.
You finished 5th. So you know the story of Bharat. What was he thinking at that time? The deer. What did Krishna give him? Deer body. Very simple. Right? And Prabhupada makes the point that sometimes the people, when they're dying, they think of their cat and dog. Very dangerous. Right? We know many people, they write the will to doggy. So that tells you they're too attached. Hare Krishna. Who is our exalted guest?
Vinod Junjunwala from New Jersey.
From New Jersey. Hare Krishna. If you want to be more comfortable, you can sit on the couch. So Shekhar, he's your...
Yes, I'm his guest.
Oh, very good.
He's my host.
May Krishna bless you. We hope that you will enjoy this program. If he has made his consciousness like of a cat or dog, he is sure to change to a cat or dog's body. And if he has fixed his consciousness on godly qualities, he will change into the form of a demigod. And if he is in Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Kundan-loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. So, for the past 5 weeks, Manjari Mehta, the mother of Krishna Prem, has been doing everything she can to give up her body with thinking of Krishna. For the last 2-3 weeks, she's been at the temple all day long. The recording of Prabhupada singing Hare Krishna has been going on. Throughout the day and night, different devotees have come. They've been doing kirtan every night. Or some devotee has been reading Bhagavad. So the whole 2 weeks, non-stop, she has been fixed on Krishna. And for the last 2 weeks, no eating, no drinking. And she was just, you didn't hear a word, you didn't hear any, For 2 weeks, no water, no food, lying there, simply hearing the sound vibration. She perfectly made in the temple every reason to believe. She left at 4:40 in the morning. That's Brahma Muhurta. And you know what happened today? So they took the body out and they opened the doors of the temple and they put her on the stretcher. And so they took her, stopped at Gornitai, then stopped at Rukmini Dwarkadish, then Jagannath, and then they put her in the hearse. And just as they put her in the hearse, the sun was shining and rain came down. That's called Divya Snan. So everything about her passing was totally auspicious. Everything. We should be so fortunate. It's called Divya Snan. So if that water falls on you, it's like your sins are removed. The sun has to be out and the rain is coming. Just like there are certain things, like if you get Ganga Jal, it purifies you. This is as good as Ganga Jal. It's called Divya Snan. Huh? And you were outside? So you know about this? Ah, very good. Excellent. Jai. Shall we continue? All right. And if he is in Krishna consciousness, he will be transferred to Kundan-loka in the spiritual world and will associate with Krishna. It is a false claim that after the annihilation of this body, everything is finished. That's what the atheists say, or the gross materialists. That is their contention. Right? That was also Charvak Muni. Charvak Muni is from Vedic time, India, and there's a famous quote. He said, "Hey, why are you worried about so many rules and regulations? Life is meant to enjoy. Whatever you have to do, just enjoy life. Eat ghee. Whether you have to beg, borrow, or steal it, doesn't matter. Don't worry about sinful reactions because," and like he said, when this body is done, that's it. So he was an atheist, and he's Charvak Muni. But he's the founder of the atheist Sampradaya. Right? Because every Hindu person knows, hey, there's karma. If I don't act properly, I'll have to pay, won't I? But Charvak was saying, hey, don't worry, just enjoy. Because once the body is thrown in the fire, finished. No. It is a false claim that after the annihilation of this body, everything is finished. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are the background of his next body. So that means it matters what you do now. You're creating your own future. Even in the English language, man is the architect of his own fortune. And so that's very true. As I am acting now, don't blame anybody when later on you get the reaction. The example is given. A person was licentious and had sex with so many different people, then later on he gets very serious disease. He wonders why. Oh, you violated the laws of nature. You violated the laws of God. Or what in the Bible it says, as you sow, so shall ye reap. So nobody to blame but myself, because everything that's coming to me, it's my own fault. No, but he everybody else was doing it. Like you get that from kids. A bunch of kids will start to do nonsense. So sometimes in the group, one guy gets caught by the authorities. Why you did all these bad things? Well, everybody else doesn't matter. You're supposed to know better. You can't say, oh, it was because of him. No. You have to behave properly. Can't say, well, everybody else was doing it, so I guess it was okay. No. Even in the law court, it goes like that. All right. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are the background of his next body. One gets a different body according to karma, and he has to quit this body in due course. It is stated here that the subtle body, so who can tell me what are the three, or you could say 4 constituents of the subtle body? What's that?
Mind.
Mind?
If we go
Wait, go in order. Mind, what's after mind?
intelligence
Intelligence?
and false ego.
Okay, and then there's sometimes a fourth one called contaminated consciousness. Generally, it's 3, like you said. But Kapila Dev, in his Sankhya philosophy, he adds that 4th thing, contaminated consciousness. And Kapila makes this point, that actually it's one thing, but seen in 4 different features. Mind, intelligence, false ego, it's actually one, but because of different functions, you can see it as 4 things. That's the subtle body. It's material. So, in the same Kapila, he says, Bhakti Yoga dissolves that subtle material body. When the subtle material body dissolves, what's left? Spirit, soul. There is your moksha. There it is. You dissolve the subtle body. Now, Prabhupada makes the point, the gross body is an effect of that subtle body. So if you dissolve the subtle body, there's no more need for the gross body, because that gross body is only a vehicle for that subtle body. And what does Lord Chaitanya, what's his first instruction? What is that? Cheto Darpana Marjanam. He says, clean it. That's his first instruction. You clean that subtle body, you're going to be like this. Haribol. And then you will chant and dance and be in the spiritual world because you've cleaned it. Lord Chaitanya says, the mind is like a mirror. Now, if you take a hot shower, right? You take a hot shower, what happens to the mirror? Well, don't shave because you're not going to see anything. You wipe it. let's say you put on the tilak. How can you put on tilak if the mirror is all foggy? No, you have to wipe it. So, why can't we see? Is God in the heart? So how come I can't see? Can't see it. Why? Because the mirror is dirty. But if you clean it, now you can see Krishna in your heart and you'll see you. Wouldn't you love to see you? But I'm seeing you. No. You're not seeing you. What are you seeing? A car. Just like you're driving on the freeway, right? So there's so many cars, you don't necessarily see the driver. You see, there's Mercedes, there's BMW, there's Hyundai. But if you get close and he rolls down the window, hey, why'd you cut me off? Now you see the driver, right? So right now we don't see the driver. But you clean that, dissolve it. Now you see Krishna and you. That is self-realization. How would you like to be self-realized? You don't want to be self-realized? Okay. Then you have to read Bhagavad-gītā and you have to chant. Everybody.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Very good. The individual soul is transmigrating from one body to another, and his present body and present activities are the background of his next body. One gets a different body according to karma, and he has to quit this body in due course. It is stated here that the subtle body, which carries the conception of the next body, develops another body in the next life. This process of transmigrating from one body to another and struggling while in the body is called karshati, which is coming from the previous verse, right? The previous verse says, Manakshastani Prakriti Stani Karshati. So he's now explained that previous line in this purport. This process of and struggling while in the body. Who's not struggling? Everybody's struggling, right? Do you have to work hard in school to pass? Or does everything come easy? Are you guys geniuses in school there? Or do they give you homework and you have to struggle? Huh? And parents, it was very easy to have a child, but it was a struggle to raise them, was it not? And for those who have daughters, it'll be a struggle to get and see them married. You looking forward to that struggle? I remember I told somebody this last night. When my daughter, before she met her husband, she was seeing somebody. And my wife came to me one day crying. I remember very clearly. She was crying. Krishna listens to you. Pray. Ask Krishna to help our daughter. So I prayed. Krishna sent James Jagat Bandhu. So I was telling, don't underestimate the power of prayer. It's one of the 9 items. Another example I gave, I'm not going to mention names, but one of my previous staunch Namahat followers, that family would do a program with me once a month for years. But her husband, not very much, and she wanted to get initiated. And the husband was saying, no. But she was determined. So she came to me. She said, I want to get initiated, but my husband is not allowing. I said, you pray to Jagannath. So she did that. She prayed to Jagannath. And lo and behold, she got initiated. And everybody was like, wow. Because this guy was not going to let anyone get in the way. He wanted full control. So then what happened? Now she wants to get Brahmin. Oh, no way her husband's going to allow her to get Brahmin. Again, she prayed to Jagannath. And lo and behold, mystically, it all took place. She got Brahmin initiation. So, Jagannath, worshiping, you have Jagannath deities, right? You have everybody. You have Gaur Nitai Radha, you're perfect. That's why your sons are growing up nice. Pray to Jagannath. Jagannatha Swami, Nayana Patagami, Bhavatu Me. Everybody. Then there was someone, they thought their son was dying. So the devotees came, chanted, and he was delivered. I remember I went to the house. The mother was crying. She was so worried, is my son going to die? But different devotees came. I came. We prayed. We blessed. Krishna saved. The power of prayer. And me in my own life personally, so many times, I just prayed to Krishna, Krishna, please save me, save me. And every time, Krishna saved me. That's why I love Krishna. Because I owe Krishna big time. When somebody does you favors, time and time again, you feel like you're indebted to that person, right? So I know in my life, so many times, Krishna saved me so many times. So, as I told one Indian lady long time ago, in this life, Prabhupada and Krishna. That's it. I don't want to hear anything else. I can never give up Prabhupada, and I cannot give up Krishna. Even you put a gun to my head, sorry. I'm not giving up Prabhupada. I'm not giving up Krishna. You like that? Yes. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Let us do one more verse. Yes, Meenakshi Vajrani Devi Dasi.
When I did my last parikrama,
Yes.
in Vrindavan, one lady, she died over there in Vrindavan. And I asked somebody, she went to Krishna or what happened after that?
You want me to answer?
Yeah.
Prabhupada says, if you give up your body in Vrindavan, there are two scenarios. If you have committed offenses in Vrindavan, then you have to take one birth as animal in Vrindavan. After that one animal birth, you go. If you have not committed an offense, you die in Vrindavan. Now, where did Prabhupada could have left his body anywhere, right? Prabhupada had 108 temples. Where did Prabhupada decide he wanted to leave his body? He wanted Vrindavan. He was in London, and we were waiting in New York because we were told Prabhupada is coming in so many days. So we were all, we're going to see Prabhupada one more time. But not. Prabhupada said no. He came back to India. He got he got a text message from Krishna. I want you now. Come back.
That lady wasn't chanting.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
Because it's Vrindavan. There are many of these little, how shall we say, exceptions to the rule. Just like in Bhagavad-gītā, what does Krishna say? If you think of me at the time of death, right? So, maybe you were the most sinful person, but if somehow or other at the time of death, you're able to think of Krishna, special dispensation. But wait a second, he was this, doesn't matter. Now, nobody should think, oh, I'm going to spend my whole life drinking and women, and I'll think of Krishna at the time of death. That's not very intelligent decision. Don't bank like that. That's not a very good. Just like none of you adults, none of you were thinking, I'm going to spend all my money. I'm not going to have anything for retirement. I'm not going to worry about it. Are you thinking like that? No. Because if you think that you're going to start saving for your retirement when you're 60 and think you're going to have enough money to retire, you're an illusion. No, you started long time ago putting away little, right? You have your IRAs and your 401s, and right? Okay, so you should have your spiritual IRA account, your spiritual 401k account, right? And I know many of you, you have a good account. Kamlesh has got his Bhagavad-gītā 401 account. Huh? And you, how many Namahat programs have you done in this house? And then before? You have a very nice 401 spiritual account. Right? So, this is a great thing that we have here, Krishna consciousness. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
And the young men here, the Brajavasis, you now have your bhajan group. So you're building your 401k. The more you do your bhajan, the more you do programs. Very good. When you get to be my age, you're going to be super fantastic wealthy if you keep it going. You may say anything you like. When was that? Thanksgiving?
Yes, I invited them because I cannot have a large house, so I invited them and I was
That's called, we call that select private Namahat program.
I wanted to give them a chance to start the fast. Their fear will go away and everything. So they get old. It was so beautiful.
So that means you get some dividends from theirs.
Thank you.
No, it's true. It's true. Come on, that's how Krishna is not a mean God. I would not worship a mean, vindictive God. I like Krishna. Yes. Brajvasi's key. All right, let's do one more. Yes, Binakshi
We are
Brajan.
going to present next week Saturday again on Sunday.
Where?
Aditya.
Aditya's doing? Who is?
Aditi.
Aditi.
Yes.
Oh, that. Wait a second. You're talking about this Sunday?
No, next Sunday.
First of all, they never asked me. Second of all, I'm not here. Not because I can't do it.
No,
And not that I said no.
She said Niruddha Prabhu is not available on Sunday.
That's a different, yeah. I don't say no to people. The only reason I say no,
She said that he's not available.
yeah, that's a little different. I don't say no to people. Yes, especially I've been trying to do a program with them since 10 years. Why'd they had to pick that? They should do tomorrow. Sheesh. Thank you. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Let us do text number 9. Let's chant together text number 9. Let's go. Shrotram chakshu sparshanam cha rasanam granam evacha adhishtaya manaschayam vishayan upasevate. Now repeat. Shrotram, ears. Chakshu, eyes. Sparshanam, touch. Cha, also. Rasanam, tongue. Granam, smelling power. Eva, also. Cha, and. Adhishtaya, being situated in. Mana, mind. Cha, also. Ayam, he. Vishayan, sense objects. Upasebate, enjoys. So these sense objects, Vishayan. So each of these senses has an object. The ears, what's the object? Sound. Eyes, yes, sight, color. Okay? There's like, would you rather watch black and white or color TV? You want color, right? If you have a choice, right? Say you're going to watch the Mahabharata. You want to watch it in black and white or color?
Colors.
Yeah. Just like that movie, Avatar, right? The 3D. If it was black and white, but because of the colors and the 3D, wow, right? It just grabs you. All right? Then your nose. Smell, like when the incense is there with the flower, right? Or if you go by the trash bin, right? Or like when I'm home, all of a sudden, like today, I'm sitting with my wife, all of a sudden, what's that smell? And somebody from downstairs is cooking something like,
Yeah, it happens all the time.
oh, God, what is that? I had to close all the windows. I had to put on incense because that smell was just coming up from this, like, right? But when you have a nice incense, or I have these oils that my friend Vandana gave me, not that different Vandana who lives by me. She gave me these Indian oils. So I go, very nice. Like rose, you know that rose petal essence, right? Or sandalwood, right? Has nice smell. All right? Then, so you have the nose. Okay, now, after the program, what's going to be? Yeah. And prasadam, right? There's so many tastes. Right? This is what huh? Right? Just like where I grew up, they have that Holy Communion. That's the sacrament. So that's a wafer dipped in wine, but the priest blesses. And they say that's the body and blood of Jesus. So you go and you kneel, and the priest puts it on your tongue. That's their prasad. But when I came to the temple, they gave me they gave me spinach and pakora and samosa. I said, I like this communion better. Right? Nectar drink, spicy rice. I remember they made that rice. Was yellow cooked rice with curd balls and cashews. Loved it. And they put the dal on it, right? Or when I go next week, when I go to Panama and then I go to Santiago, Sanam is going to make one day South Indian, right? Idli, sambar, dosa, right? Am I making you hungry? Well, you have to wait. We still have to do arti. So there's so many tastes: sweet, sour, salty, pungent, right? All the tastes are there. Okay, please repeat. The living entity,
The living entity,
thus taking another gross body,
thus taking another verse,
obtains a certain type
obtains a certain type
of ear, eye, tongue,
of ear, eye, tongue,
nose, and sense of touch,
nose, and sense of touch,
which are grouped about the mind.
grouped about the mind.
He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. I told you that because you have Indian bodies, your set of sense objects and senses are different than us Americanos. You're different. I know, okay? I have personal experience. When I go to, let's say, Mexico, Guadalajara, what the devotees like to eat, you're not going to like so much. And even I don't like it so much. I always tell them, I want to eat Indian food. They like, oh yeah, they like, and they, because they have those senses, all right? They offer it to Krishna and it's vegetarian, but they prefer that, okay? Because that's their senses. And they like things very hot. Sometimes they give you hotter than Indian. Okay, so hot. And they like it. Or Prabhupada had that servant. When Prabhupada was a householder, he had one servant. He liked to eat corn. Prabhupada did not like corn. He even writes about it in Bhagavad-gītā. Prabhupada didn't care. I like corn. But Prabhupada didn't like corn. But he said that servant of his had to have corn every day. All right, so there's different senses. All right, that particular body is, like it says here, you develop a certain kind, just like you are not attracted to drink alcohol. But you know, even in this neighborhood, you go into their homes, they're going to have several different bottles of stuff that you... I remember before I was a devotee, before I knew about Krishna consciousness, once in a while someone would say, here, take this. So I would try, burn whiskey. It burns, and or beer, right? They to them, and I would go. I must have had different kind of senses. But I remember I would be in a place and people are drinking, or you're not attracted to eat fish. Before I was a devotee, I worked as like in a restaurant for some time. So it was a seafood place. And I had to clean up all the trays, right? And you see what they're eating, and you go, ugh. Right? And they think it's great. They think it's great. Why? Because they have those senses. They've been given a body, and with that body they have taste for these meat and fish and eggs. So you're different, and this verse explains. Okay, shall we do the purport?
Yes.
In other words, if the living entity adulterates his consciousness with the qualities of cats and dogs, in his next life he gets a cat or dog body and enjoys. Consciousness is originally pure like water. Here, Prabhupada is quoting Kapil Dev in 3rd canto. This is exactly a statement by Kapil Dev. Consciousness is originally pure like water, but if we mix water with a certain color, it changes. Similarly, consciousness is pure, for the spirit soul is pure, but consciousness is changed according to the association of the material qualities. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life he gets a corresponding body. He does not necessarily get a human body again. He can get the body of a cat, dog, hog, demigod, or one of many other forms, for there are 8,400,000 species. And Prabhupada makes this point several times, because some people think, oh, I'm a human being, that automatically I'm going to go up. That's not what we learned from Krishna in Bhagavad-gītā. You can devolve. Darwin talked about evolution, but that was only half. Bhagavad-gītā talks about de-evolution, that the man is again becoming monkey. And that's why I say Darwin in his next life became monkey. He said, right, monkey is the origin of man. So Darwin had monkey consciousness. Next life, for sure he became monkey Darwin. So, moral of the story, remember and surrender to Krishna. Everybody who's part of my group, who is my student, or you may be my Siksha disciple, you must memorize Bhagavad-gītā 1866. Everybody, raise your hands. Sarvadharman parityaja. Repeat. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Ang twang sarvapapebhyo. Mokshyami ma shuchaha. And ma shuchaha means three things. Don't worry. Don't hesitate. Don't fear. That means do it now. And if somebody says, Prabhu, how can I surrender to Krishna right now, Manakshi? What will I tell him? Tell us how to do that.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,